Of course, this afternoon we're putting special focus on the Supreme Court as we await to just hear how they came up to that decision that upheld President Uhuru Kenyatta's win with regard to the October 26th presidential poll. We'll be having different discussions here in studio as well as talking to my colleagues on the ground on a variety of stories that we're covering for you. Remember, if you want to interact with me, hashtag is of course News Desk, or you can tweet me directly at Betty M. Kielo. I'd like to hear what you have to say about other discussions and our coverage this afternoon. And speaking about coverage, let's get straight into it. And like I mentioned, the Supreme Court really is our top story this afternoon, and it will today give the reasons for upholding President Uhuru Kenyatta's election in the October 26th repeat poll. The Supreme Court rules on presidential petitions gives the judges 21 days to give a detailed ruling. The court last month upheld President Kenyatta's election unanimously, but did not go into the details of its reasoning. It did, however, identify several other issues for determination, such as the amendments to the election laws by Jubilee. Our reporter, Rita Snina, is at the Supreme Court for us right now. Let's cross over there. And Rita, good afternoon. What is at stake this afternoon as we await to hear the full explanation by the judges?
Good afternoon to you, Betty. Here at the Supreme Court in the next 1 hour or so, the judges should be giving details of why and how they arrived at their ruling. As you mentioned there, they delivered their summary judgment on the 20th of last month. And today, basically, they will be outlining the reasons that helped them reach that decision. I would just say, Betty, this time round, not much interest as compared to when they were releasing or issuing their judgment on the 20th of last month. Several roads near the Supreme Court by then were closed to traffic. City Hall Way, Wabera Street, right now, everything just going on as normal, traffic moving on as normal. So we'll just be waiting for 2 p.m. And as you asked there, what is at stake? The judgment is known. It is the reasons behind the judge's ruling that we'll be waiting to hear this afternoon. And that will have far-reaching consequences if you look at the legal fraternity. This is the highest court in the land, and so the decision it makes, or the reasons it gives today, will be binding. It will also set a precedent on future cases relating to the issues that will be addressed. Those issues, there were two petitions, one by John Harun Mwau, former MP, the other one by activists Njonjo Mue and Helef Halifa. And the issues among them that they raised, the judges consolidated the two, though the legal teams were given time to argue their sides separately. Among those issues, 14 issues, among them the issue of nominations, whether the IEBC should have conducted nominations before the fresh presidential election, the issue of the withdrawal from the presidential race by NASA flag bearer Raila Odinga. There's also the issue of the fact that the IEBC did not conduct the elections in all 290 constituencies as required by the law. It will be interesting to hear what the judges will say. The law requires that the elections should be conducted in the 290 constituencies. In its defense, during the hearing, the IEBC indicating that it postponed the elections in 25 constituencies in 4 counties due to the violence that was witnessed there. It also argued it was working within timelines, within a deadline of the 60 days given by the Supreme Court in its ruling in the first petition. And so those are among the issues I'll be waiting to see how the judges rule on. There's also the issue, as you mentioned, Betty, there, the one of the Electoral Laws Amendment Act, and how that could have influenced the judges' ruling or the matters arising before the fresh presidential poll. It was a contentious issue. The MPs debating and passing the bill just as the country was preparing for the fresh presidential election. So those issues, it will be interesting to see how the judges give their ruling, what direction they will be taking. This time round, it was a unanimous decision by all the judges who upheld the victory of President Uhuru Kenyatta in the October 26th election in the first petition. This was the second petition that the court was considering in less than 90 days. In the first petition, that was arising from the August 8th general election, NASA filed a petition. NASA won that. The Supreme Court, in a landmark ruling, nullified President Uhuru Kenyatta's win. And so in this second petition, in that first petition by NASA, the judges, 4 of them, nullifying the decision. There were 2 dissenting judges to that decision by the majority. This time it is a unanimous decision, and so we are waiting to see and hear what the judges will have to say in their detailed judgment. Betty.
Right, Rita Nina there reporting from the Supreme Court, and like she mentioned, that full explanation will be given this afternoon, anytime from 2 p.m, and we'll be covering that for you live here on KTN News. Moving